Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this special midweek edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. And tonight, we'll be looking at a topic, setting up a high-performance culture. And our facilitator for tonight, Mr. Olariwaju William, somebody I've known for a while, a bit, and someone I respect very closely, both as a professional and for his personal and strong work ethic. Olariwaju William holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in statistics from the first and the best university, University of Ibadan, and he holds a Master's of Business Administration from Obama University, Obafemi Awolowo University, MBA, Human Resource Option. He's also a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria and an accredited management trainer by the Nigerian Council for Management Development and IFC LPR certified trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Olariwaju has had over 16 quality years post-graduation experience, cutting across healthcare, consulting, construction, fast-moving consumer goods sector of the economy, and as well as practicing HR. He mentors a lot of people, which I can testify to, for efficient and effective living. Larry has served in various capacities, including but not limited to member Public Policy and Advocacy Committee for Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria for 2 consecutive years between 2018 and 2020, among other roles. Olariwaju is currently the managing partner at WithTrain Consulting. He's happily married with 2 adorable children and enjoys his pastime reading, playing the guitar, or watching football. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to hand over virtual control of this meeting to our capable facilitator for tonight, Mr. Olariwaju William, setting up a high-performance culture. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I feel honored. To be here to share thoughts with us. As you all know, it's a conversation we all learn together. Even though I'm delivering the session, as it were, I'm also going to learn from you. While I know we also pick 1 or 2 things. Having said that, please just give me emojis to let me know that you can hear me, because it's raining heavily on my side. Just put something in the chat, just for me to know that, okay, you can hear me loud and clear. So I'm waiting. I want to see the first person that will, I will do that. Just drop something in the chat, just to confirm you can hear me. Okay, thank you, Presh. Thank you, Tolu Anime. Okay, that's great, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. So now I know you're on the same page. Now, we're looking at setting up a high-performance culture. I need to sound a warning here that here today, we're not going to be discussed about framework. We're not going to be discussed about, because, no, not at all. And I will explain why. But that's why after I'm done with the session objective. At the end of this session, I expect that each and every one of us, of course, will know this even from our elementary school. We should be able to define culture, define a high-performance culture, state the qualities of a high-performance culture, discuss the steps required in creating a high-performance culture. So that's our objective. So why did I say we're not going to be talking about policies, framework? Because if you look at what culture is what we see every day. And that will lead me to, okay, it's already up that. What is culture? Sorry. Now, if you recall in our elementary school, we were all taught that culture is the total way of life. I want to believe that someone can remember that. And that's what we say, it's a way of life. And so for me, I say it's how a group of people does things. So invariably, it affects almost every aspect of our lives. For example, I recall some years ago, the church I attend, maybe we are allowed to wear what we call native attire, maybe first Sunday of the year. And I said, oh, that particular year, I said, I want to go Niger Delta. So what that means is that in my mind, I need to picture, okay, how Niger Delta people, how did they dress? So I needed to say, okay, other than just sewing clothes, I needed to get a kind of particular cap. I needed to get a walking stick and all those things. So now, when immediately someone saw me when I arrived in church that day, and so you have gone Niger Delta. So meaning the way I dress that day can be related to that culture of the Niger Delta. So you understand what to say? So it's how a group of people does things. It could be how we eat, it could be how we marry, how we name our children, how we do the name children, naming ceremony in life. So culture is what enables teams of people to defy odds and achieve the remarkable, because that's how they do it. So that's what it's all about. And that would lead me to, now let me now marry it to a high performing or a high performance. They are both adjective anyway. So it's a set of behaviors and norms that helps an organization achieve superior results. You get that? Now, if you look at my screen, I put in red a set of behaviors and norms. So these are what set an organization apart to achieve superior results. Remember, wherever we are, I don't know whether everybody is an HR, but if you're an HR or whatever your function is, I always say something that God forbids that our organizations go down. What that means is that they collapse, they fold up. Everyone will go up, will go home rather. When an organization collapses, every employee will go home, or you go for somewhere else. So invariably, this affects no matter organization you work, no matter your role. It is expedient that that organization will exude a high performance culture, because nobody wants to go home. Nobody wants to be jobless. So this set of behaviors and norms is what you and I should embrace. We should imbibe in whatsoever we do, no matter what our functions are, no matter what our roles are, no matter our position is what we should imbibe in such behaviors and norms. That's what it's all about. And so because of this, we'll be talking about what are the traits that you see when you say, oh, this culture shows that people are high performing. So what do we see? That things that we can that look like tangible things that okay, by these virtues that we see in these particular teams or in this organization or we see in this culture, we know that okay, they are likely to be high performing. By adventure, you have questions as we go along. I'll just say, just drop them in the chat. And by the time we are through, we'll come back to it. So, what are the traits of a high performance culture? Number one, they embrace change. You know, we say that the only thing that's constant in life is change. Now, what do I mean that there's a change? There could be something in a clog of our will. For example, we've mapped out, okay, this is how we want to go this year as an organization. We've developed our strategy. Okay, we'll do so. But there could be just a government policy that will actually distort that framework that we have developed. That we distort that strategy. So now, in that case, do we just fold our hands and allow things to go south? No. So wherever there is, so we need to, in that instance, there is a need for the strategy to be retweaked. So change is something that every high performance team must imbibe. So what that means is that there is no room for failure. Because that this policy has come in from government, or there is something that has happened that we didn't expect, that we didn't plan for, then we need to, okay, what's next to do? Now, how do we rejig it? How do we reframe what we have done so that we want to achieve our business objective, want to achieve our business goals? So, and if you want to see a high performance, if you see that this particular culture or this particular organization, they can be regarded, they can be said to say, oh, they are high performing, then they embrace change. They are not static. They don't just say, oh, because this has befallen us, just stay there. No, embrace change. Number two, there is a tendency for their employee turnover to be low, or lower than the others. How do I mean is that because, you know, when they maintain their workforce, that means they maintain their knowledge. So you know one thing about people, because people love to be applauded. People love to be, when they say, okay, I've achieved this, people love to, there's ego in man. So when the people know that, okay, this organization, they are, for example, 50%, we have marketers there, they are eating their numbers, they would rather stay there because they know, I don't know if I move to an organization where I don't know whether I'll be able to meet my numbers. So the turnover in such an organization, in such culture, is minimal. There's also team backup. Because we work together, we get a number. If peradventure somebody is, oh, you want to, maybe somebody is sick, he couldn't come to work, there is somebody that is readily available to actually step into the shoes. Or maybe somebody needs to go on leave, and so now it's okay, Mr. A is doing this. B is ready to hand on the responsibility of Mr. A during the interval with his own responsibility as B. And so what also that says that is that there is a team synergy. When you see that, oh, somebody is trying to, oh, the ball is dropping in somebody is there to help it, to help the person up. So there is team backup in high performance. So invariably, if you are a solo player, you just love to, there's a tendency, or somebody is a solo player, there's every tendency that the person might not be able to fit into high performing culture. So you must learn in high performing culture, there is team backup. Now, there are also empowerment. People are empowered to make decisions. Now, when we say people are meant, that's what we call psychological safety. That, okay, people are not afraid to innovate, that if I make mistake and nothing will happen. And in psychological safety, there are about 4 levels. Maybe I can quickly talk to that. Level 1 is, the level is like level of belongingness. Okay, oh, this team, am I welcome in this team? Okay, people want to see it, okay. Oh, everybody welcomes me, they want to do that. So that's level 1. The level 2 is that you're a learner. You are learning in that within the team. Okay, I'm not afraid to ask questions, so that people say, okay, this one doesn't know jack, is a dollar. So people that's level 3. Then up to then they begin to contribute. They begin to what called contributor level. People can contribute with it. Say, okay, this is what I feel. And then the final level of psychology is when people can say, oh, but they want to challenge the status quo and say, no, sir, even though this person say, but say, okay, sir, we could do this better than this. And that's what we talk about when you say we empower people. That's psychological safety. People can, okay, they are not afraid to innovate. So when people are able to actually put in their best without thinking, and we know that, okay, everybody will listen to me, that's what we talk about, say, empowerment. That's when people can even perform beyond what is being done. That's when people can say, okay, we've been doing this for donkey years. Are there better ways to do it? So people are empowered to make decisions. There is sense of accountability. You don't see that people are passing buck and say, no, oh, I'm not the one that did. It wasn't done by me, because the people are not afraid. People feel, okay, it's a teamwork. Like I said earlier, it's a team backup. So people are accountable. I did it. Oh, I never knew it. So people, there's that accountability in the team. These are traits that we see in every high-performing culture. There is also strategy to improve continuously. Earlier I talked about innovation. So in every high-performing team or culture, continuous or continual improvement is a key element. It's something that you cannot, it's not negotiable. People want to say, okay, last year we hit this number. Now we hit X number. Now we want to do X plus 2. What do we need to do? Okay, though we discovered that, okay, we had a waste in production of so amount. So how do we go lean? They try to improve, innovate every now and then. Okay, how can we be better? How can we be better? Oh, our employee experience was 82%. Our customer satisfaction is 92%. Oh, can we hit 100? They improve. They evaluate their processes. They look for loopholes and see areas of improvement. That's another trait, the high performance. That's it. Empower leadership at all levels. At all levels, people are empowered to do one thing or another. That, okay, at this level, okay, you can give approval for this. So people are empowered. This is what we see in high performance. I don't know whether any of us has gone to my organization and say, oh, I don't know, I cannot say anything because I don't. When you see such an organization, you know that they can't be performing. People are afraid to take decisions. But in high performing culture, these are not what we see. These are not obtainable. Everyone is empowered to take decisions at one level or another. Now, what are the influencers of high performance? What are the things that influenced a team to be performing? And I will talk about vision and mission. When vision is clear, people is a driver, is an influencer to high performing culture. So when everybody know we are going this direction, about a month ago, I went somewhere to an organization, and so I was talking to them, and I asked them, I said, what's the vision? Do you know that virtually everybody were saying different things? Even the MD, to tell you that they had it on paper, but it wasn't clear. It wasn't crystal clear. Everybody were just more money. Between, though I tried to manage them, but I knew that the vision was just on paper. But when your vision is crystal clear, when your mission is crystal clear, everybody knows it. When you're waking up from sleep, you can see it. It's an influencer towards becoming high performing culture. Number two, values. It's an influencer. Now, when you see organization list core value, I always say something. You see, in this age and time, there is virtually no organization when you pick 10 organizations, about 5 of them in their values, you will see integrity. Now, when you put integrity as your core values, and the tax people want to come, you say, "Oh no, please, let's hide some. No, let's hide some. Let's hide some." Now, tell me, those employees that you are telling to hide from government officials, will they live by those values? No. So these values, I always tell people that it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory that you must put integrity as your value, but your core values must be those values that you can stand for. Come rain, come shine. So your values are influencers toward whether you will be a high performance organization or not. Practices. What are practices? A practice is something that we do usually, that we do regularly. Often, though it might look like habit or custom, but how do we do it? You know, for example, I'm an HR professional. When we bring in when you want to onboard new employee, there are ways we onboard in different organizations. So the way we onboard in our organization, it could be a practice. It might be, okay, for example, I may say, oh, for every new employee or new intake, the person must have a dinner with a CEO. That's a practice. So what are your practice, the kind of practices that happen in your organization is they work towards, they influence whether you will be high performing or otherwise. Like I said, when I mentioned the issue of onboarding, I've seen situations that somebody was being onboarded day one, day two, the person fled, say, "No, I cannot be here." So, and remember when I was talking about the traits, I mentioned that when is an high performing team, their turnover is minimal. Now you are onboarding somebody, the person fled, say, "No, I cannot be here." So you can see that it influences it. So your practices, what are the things that people will see? What are the norms? What are the behaviors that people see? What do you see as a result? How do you handle your tasks? How do you handle your goals? What are the strategies that we are following as an organization? These are the things that influence. These things influence whether we'll be a high performing organization or whether we are exhibiting a high performing culture or otherwise. Now, towards the journey of high performing culture, there are a lot of things that must be done. Number one, clarify values and communicate it. I always say this, that in human resource practice, you can never ever over communicate. Communicate. In fact, of course, we're all taught in communication also that communication is two-way. When you encode, you have to ensure that you get the feedback, which is called decode, to understand that, okay, what was said was clear and was understood. If there is a need, you ask question. Do you understand what I've said? And let the person, he or she, gets back to, okay, this is my understanding of what was said. And so that if there's any form of ambiguity, if there's anything that is not clear, you can actually nip in the bud right there. So if you want to your culture to lead to high performance or high performing, you must clarify what your values are and communicate it. Let it be clear. And when we say clarify, that means it's clear. There is no ambiguity. I thought is this. No, it's not. If it's integrity and honesty, they look alike, but there's slight difference. So let it be clear. No, what we say our value, the value we have mentioned is integrity, not honesty. So let it be clear. Clarify it and let everyone understand what your values are. Number two, steps that we must take in creating a high performance culture. Reinforce positive behaviors. Now, behavior that that, okay, that will lead to you achieving your, reinforce it. Let it be, it looks clear, like it looks similar to what I said also, but in reinforcement, for example, we have gone to, let's say, I think the one I can remember is an eatery. Maybe you go to an eatery and you see on the wall, you see a picture of a guy, say, oh, the best employee of the month. What are you trying to do? That guy has done something, done because of that month, which you feel like, okay, they are laudable, and you want those actions to be repetitive. So you now honor the guy. So he's the best employee for the month. What are you reinforcing the positive thing he has done it so that you make invariably what the organization has done is that he has made that thing competitive. Okay, oh, Ade is the best employee for this month. Okay, Chinedu next month, I too, I want to get it. You are reinforcing it. You want it to be something that is repeated, that is done repeatedly over and over again. You want to ensure that it's not a one-time occurrence, that people are doing well. That's what we mean by reinforce positive behaviors. And in our respective positions, even you might say you are not a manager, you can say, oh, you are not a line manager, you are not an HR manager, also. But even for yourself, if let's say you are a one-man department and something was okay to say you did this well, look at what you have done well. Reinforce it yourself that, okay, I want to be commended every now and then. That is what reinforcement of positive behavior is all about. The next thing, I say, define your culture. What your culture is. What do you want to be known for? What do you want to you want to know that, okay, here we don't do this. There are, when you say, okay, you say, oh, people are talking about their mental health, there are things they see in such organization that they'll say, no, this culture is different. Recently, I was talking to someone and I said I went to an organization, I met about 6 people. And I could see that in this particular organization, they are tilted to a particular region, geopolitical zone of the country, or in Nigeria. I'm here in Nigeria. So now, so when I moved around, and when I saw that, I said, this has already told me the kind of people here. Now, to them, that's their own culture. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is that define what your own culture is. What do you want people to know about your organization? How do we dress? How do we comport ourselves? So let your culture be clear. I recall somewhere, my MD CEO then said, okay, because we're a service industry, so we have clients that we face. So our clients will come in, and so we give them service. So because we want people to be accountable, we now agree that, okay, every employee must wear their ID card, as simple as that, ID card badge. And then when that decision was taken, I had to go back to my MDC and say, ma, she said, I said, ma, are you sure you want to do this? She said, yeah, I want to do this. So, and I made it clear then, I said, in that case, you must also abide by it. Now, this defining your culture is leading me to lead by example, all right? Now, so after we have agreed, do you know that peradventure, I'm outside or maybe I'm within the premises, the MDCO is coming into the organization. Now, this is the owner of the business. I'm just an HR that was employed, an employee. You know what? I would just say, good morning, madam. Please, can you wear it? If she was not putting, I say, can you kindly please put on your ID card? That is, the culture has been defined, and that's leadership. She in all fairness to the person, she's not, of course, she's not in this corporate. I'm mentioning it because we have agreed at that level that everybody must lead by example. What she will just do, she'll just say, so I'm so sorry. She will dip her hand into her bag, get the ID card, and put it on. Now, by so doing, it is very, very, very easy for all other people to follow. Now, if the MDCU is wearing an ID card badge, who is the HR officer, who is the front desk officer, who is whoever that would also want to do by it? So, if you want anything that you know that, okay, this will lead us to high performance, lead by example. If you are supposed to turn in your assignment by 12 and we have agreed, just, okay, you are the boss, I can turn it by 1. You're not leading by example. So what people see you do is what they will emulate. What people see you do is what they will also do in turn. So lead by example. Now, coach employees, because you are at an vantage position by virtue of experience, by virtue of whatsoever, maybe exposure, coach employees. look at, okay, bring them up to speed. And you know, at least here now, I didn't say train. Now, the difference between coaching and maybe or mentoring is that you ask leading questions that will help them to think on their own. So ask them leading questions. Oh, why did you do this way? Okay. So what do you think if I have done it this way? What do you, okay, is there a better way? So when you coach employee, and that's why you see in let me use football as an example. You will see coaches that have never played football. So when you coach employee, you can just ask them questions that will help them to unleash themselves to become high performing. These are ways, these are steps towards which we can create a high performance culture. Another step, I said, create a ritual. This, when you say a ritual, these are tradition. These are how I'm not saying we should just take something to a T junction. No, when I say create that, this is how we do our things. That, oh, when we have a complaint from our client, these are the ways we do it. First, we note it in a book, we escalate it to the, so let it be clear so that people know that, okay, for every, still, maybe the best way I can put this is that, if possible, have SOPs for every function. When I say SOP, standard operating procedures, and what SOPs, the way it helps us is that if I'm the HR officer, or if I'm the HSC officer, and I have my function or my documented in an SOP, in case of you do this, what that says, if even, let's assume I go on leave, or I move from that organization to another organization, because the steps, the processes are documented, it is easier for another person to fit into the book and follow the books. Create a ritual, how we do things. Okay, and you know, in ritual is a tradition of community. You know, these are intentional acts done the same way to effect the same purpose. That's what about ritual. It's an intentional act that is done in the same way to effect the same purpose. So, meaning, without SOPs, if Mr. A leaves the position, Mr. B comes in, just follow the books, and the same, there is a likelihood of getting the same result. Another one, you want to create high performance culture, integrate new hires effectively. I mentioned earlier that if someone who joins an organization and in less than 48 hours, the person no, I can't be here. As simple as onboarding is, you know, in this age of time, when you see people, they give them package, you have your computer ready, your email is ready, you have a, what do we call it? Maybe you have your mouse, you have everything, you have a water bottle customized. Those things, it has a way of rubbing on the mindset of the new hires. So integrate them appropriately. Not that when the person comes and you say, oh, sorry, we are still trying to get the seat, your laptop, the IT. No. To integrate it. When they see that when you are laid back with your onboarding, with your integration, the way you integrate them into the system, they see that, oh, do I want to belong here? Is this where I want to be? So it is critical. They start actually evaluating your organization from that point in time. Integrate them correctly. And focus on what matters. Now, so what are the results that you want to achieve? What are those? Let it be, you know, from where you started, once it's clear. So once your objectives are clear, once what you want to achieve, so focus on those things and leave frivolities out of the way. Focus on what matters for your employees. Let them know that, okay, this and this and this are what matters to them. So these are that. And another steps is that employee empowerment. Now, how do you make people, when you employ people, do you still micromanage? Do you want them to know that, okay, oh, in this case, this is your role. This is what you expected of you. These are the results that you want to achieve for your role. These are, okay, maybe these are the antecedents. And then so when you are formally, let them take the position. There are situations that people are employed to do certain jobs and they are still not allowed to do the job. When you empower people, you let them to think out of the world. You let them to innovate. You give room, you give allowance for people to actually make mistakes, because in mistakes, and that's where that's where innovations lies. But when you don't empower people, you just feel like, okay, no, they cannot do anything. So empower people to empower them to take decisions. I was talking to a colleague, and I said, okay, I want you to run this particular function. And the guy was like, okay, I've not been doing it before. I said, so just go and think it out and then come with solution. Why was I doing that? Because I want them to be just like, you can assume this position. So you don't think that, okay, when you empower people, there's a tendency that you lose your job. No, never. So empower people, give them the key, let them run out and see how they will do it. And for me, I try to use, I tell people a lot, the same way you can, the easiest way you can use to empower people other than in their role is that when you have someone that has a line manager, when the line manager goes on leave and you are still calling the manager every day and night, no, let people assume position. Let them test what with it. That's the way you can empower people. I said, then in high performance culture, they are open to feedback. If you want your culture to be, you must listen. Both praise, both critics, both the one that is negative, the one that is positive. You must be open to feedback. If you are the type that, okay, all what you want to hear, good, oh, you have done what you have done, oh, that's amazing, that's beautiful, then you have been deceived. You must be open to feedback. There must be something that you are doing that you can do better. There must be something you are doing that maybe you are not doing well that needs to be so. But if you feel you have not, you know it all, there is no room for improvement, then there is a problem. That at that point in time, I can tell you that your performance is declining. If you feel you cannot get feedback, be open for feedback. Let people tell you how it is. Oh, it's a praise. It's good. It's not bad. Blah blah blah. So be open to it. Okay. Now, as leaders that want to drive high performance culture, I want to talk on these 4 elements. We must be initial believers of high performance culture. Remember, I said earlier that some people, when you talk to them, you say, oh, I don't know what they are doing. I don't understand what they are saying. The MD. Now, if you want to be a high performer in a culture, you cannot be saying they. What that tells anyone is that you're not part of that. You are not involved. So if you want your organization to experience a high performance, you want to lead a high performance culture, you must be an initial believer in that cause. Even though, when at times maybe you go to management meeting and everybody is tilted towards a side, and maybe you're on this side. At the end of the day, maybe majority tilt to that side. Because you are part of the money, sit align. Even though if you're thinking this will not work well based on so and so and so and so. As far as maybe you have sought, maybe after you have tried to look at sir, this is asking, maybe you've gone to the management and said, this is what I'm thinking, why I said so. Let's assume that it's not even adopted. What you have said is not adopted. Still follow suit. And that does not mean you must castigate everything that was said and you must paint it black. No, you must be an initial believer. You must endorse what was said. You must, since everybody has adopted it, endorse it, follow it through. Now, if there is anything, then if you now see that the board want to, you help to build it, and you over time, if your opinion looks like the best, it will show later down. But that means you must not castigate others. Remember what I said when we started? I said the essence of why we want to build a high performance culture is that nobody wants to go home. We don't want our organizations to go under. And that is why we must imbibe in these things we're talking about. Be role models. Not that, okay, want to turn in and say, you're the one that will turn your work late, or we want to say, okay, because we service people, our people must come in and we must not come late. And oftentimes you're the one to say, okay, oh, are you there? You should have been there. And meanwhile, you are not there. I look at what happened today. You know, today is a blessed day in Lagos, Nigeria, that water filled everywhere, and a lot of people. So this is a one-off thing. But even at that, do you, because okay, it has rained, you just stay at home and say, okay, they will not understand that there's rain? No. Excuse me. No, you must be a role model. As difficult as it was this morning, I'm not trying to sing because this is who I am anyway. I still got to my office in ample time. Not because I want to do a service, not because I want to I want anybody to see me. No, it's just who I am. And it's what we are talking about here. Be role models to others. My team got to know that, okay, they needed to be coming early. When I joined my current, where I'm currently, a lot of people I saw that they were coming late. But I have been an early riser, so for some too. But I'm an early riser, so I want to sleep early. And when they saw that, okay, this guy will always come early. So without even talking, they knew that when they will come, they will meet. They will meet me in the office. They need to do something. Be creative as a leader. How are you sure, okay, we have achieved this? How do we want to get better? What are you thinking about how we do things? Do we think, okay, oh, this is the best we can do? You must. So this is what we are talking about as leaders, that we must be creative. Okay, so now to drive results for high-performing team, set clear expectations for everyone, for every role, that this is what you must do. This is what you must achieve. This look like what we call KPIs. Okay, these are the indicators that you will be measured with. Let it be clear, crystal clear. There's no ambiguity. That okay, if you hit X numbers, you know you have hit it. Let it be clear. You know, when we are talking about goals, say specific, measurable, articulate, realistic, and time bound. Oh, with this also, let it be set clear expectation. Let it be smart. Help employees to find solutions to problems. Now, when there are issues, you don't just say, okay, you're on your own. You don't put people on autopilot when they are. You don't let them. You don't make them stranded when there are issues. In fact, I always tell people that it's only when you have issues that's why you know who the true leaders are. When they come to you for problems, how do you help them? Do you help them solve their problem, or you lead them to say, oh, because I've employed you, if you cannot do it, then you leave my job? No. Except when it's now repetitive, that okay, this person, you know that okay, this person is just laid back, is bringing his job to. So that's a different case, and which I believe, of course, in nature, when you do appraisal things, there are things that bring out. But what we are saying is that be there for your team. Be there, because when you don't solve their problems, there's a tendency, a likely tendency, except if your system is not well run, there is no way you as a line manager, as a leader, that you're able to achieve your own or objectives or your own goals or your own KPIs. So help them to solve their problem. Remember, somebody's input is another person's output, and in that order. So if you don't help them solve their problems, so the output they will give to another employee, or maybe even to your client or your customer, that means it will be that. So help them. Find out where they have issues to solve it because of what I said, one person's input and another person's output. Play to employee strength. If you lead a team that maybe you have 1, 2 or more people, you know that people are different. They have different traits, they have different characteristics, they have different personality. But you should understand each of them, where their strengths lie, and play to their strength. So if you know that, okay, this person, this particular person is given to figures. So if we need to do metrics analytics, so I should push it to this person. Oh, this one is very good when it's come to. So play to their strength. identify area that you know, okay, well, this person will be able to thrive on and help them to thrive in those areas. Then the developmental needs. You know, I tell people that you don't need to micromanage people, but if you lead your team, there is a need for you to do regular check-ins to know, okay, and when you do that, you are able to actually see, okay, whether they have gaps somewhere that needs to be so address it. Why do you need to address it? Because we do not want to fail. Because the kind of culture we build here is a culture that performs. It's a culture that achieve results. It's a culture that does not want to fail, because we want to build an organization that does not fail. Finally, I would say provide regular informal feedback to your team. When you know that, okay, this person or your team members, they are not doing well, you have noticed, okay, when you ask for reports, this particular person or the person, he or she, their reports getting late, or you discover that when they do, there's a particular thing that is not well done, let them know that, okay, these are what I expected. This is what I've seen. These are my expectations. This should have been done this way. This should have, in this particular area, you're not doing this well. Okay, based on what I've seen, I think there is this course. Okay, you can take this course on. I've seen this course for you on Udemy. You can just run through it and see what's going to affect. So provide regular informal feedback. So this will help in driving a high performance culture. So, and this is where I'm wrapping it up here for today. Remember, I said that today we are not doing policies, we are not doing frameworks, we are talking about little things that will help us. Remember, culture is the total way of life. So it involves what we do on a daily basis that we actually, and that we sum up, and that means, okay, this is who we are. So thank you very much for your time. So I would like to take a question at this point in time.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. That was an excellent presentation. I listened to every word, every sentence, and I had a very great time. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we would like to take questions, comments, contributions. Please, let's make the best of the time. Let's raise our hands quickly so that we can unmute us to either ask our questions, share our experience, or our reflections on the topic. We know today is a rainy day. We'd like us to go and get rest, but I'm sure people have things to say. I can see already in the chat box that people are also sharing their appreciations, using various emojis, emoticons, and sentences to appreciate you for the quality of the presentation. Brilliant presentation. Thank you so much. Profound presentation, and so on and so forth. All right, I see 2 hands up. Please raise your hands now. We'd also like to take all the feedbacks or questions back to back and call it a wrap. We'll start with Silva. I don't know whether you identify as he or she, but Ma or sir, you have the floor. Hello, Sylvia. Can we hear you? Okay, I think we quickly move over to Michael. Michael, you can unmute, please.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the presenter of tonight's topic. He actually make it simple and very clear indeed. It's not a waste of time for me to be here tonight. I really appreciate that, sir. However, I would like to know how this topic can be of help for those of us in the public sector. Because for the private sector, these are things that is already on ground and were well run. And that is why we see high-performing individual doing well in most of our private sectors. But in the public sector, where we have, like the way I work, my supervising ministries, industry and trade and investment. And sometimes if we want to take decision of something in our office, we need to now look at how does it align with what the civil service rule, or what will our supervisory ministry say about this and that. So, sir, how do we, one way or the other, find a way to introduce this into, the public sector setting? Because we have CEO that will come in intermediary, maybe after 4 years, they are government appointee, and moreover, most of them are not actually interested in what we are doing. Most of them are there for the purpose of, okay, who has asked me to be here? And that is what we have seen over the years. And that's why I'm speaking this way. How do we manage people like that when they come in and we try to say, here we do this, here we do that? And some of them will say, no, this is what I want to do, and this is what you should do. And when we are talking about high performing, when you have a standard and somebody is bringing you down below the standard, it's become an issue. You even bring down your own morale as HR individual. So, sir, how do we manage this? How could this work in our public sector?
All right, thank you very much. While you were asking the question, I was smiling. Why was I smiling? Because jokingly, I talked to my wife. I said, I don't think I can work in the public sector. And because I was because my wife also works in the public sector anyway. So I would say, you people are slow. You understand? But jokingly. But having said that, if you recall when we started, I mentioned about saying about clarify your values and communicate it. Now, because these people are going, like you mentioned, every 4 years, one person, every 4 years, somebody comes in and he goes, or he or she goes. Now, for that person coming in, I expect that there are things that are clear that, okay, for this particular tenure, excuse me, these are what we want to achieve, and this is what we want to go. So the critical thing is that I expect that even no matter how, even the person has his own, he or she has his own ulterior motive, there must be things that, okay, we want to do. For maybe I don't know much about, but let me assume that, okay, it's LASA. I'm just saying that's for advertising agency now. Okay, that's okay. For this, okay, for this particular year running, we want to maybe our income was 20 million. I'm just saying now that now we want to raise it to 22 million. I want to believe that things like that will happen. That's because I know FRS they give them. So there must be things that, okay, that must have been agreed on, maybe by the parastatal or by the ministry or by whatever it's called, or even by this particular person that's leading it. And for your role, now because you mentioned HR, there must be things that you do that I expected of you, the way you work. I'm not sure whether you have job description, but at least you have something similar to what I call SOPs that you know that is guiding you. So if those things are available, just you ticking the box against those things means you are performing your duties, irrespective of whether this person wants some other things. That, okay, before you enroll, you must ensure that, okay, each person that comes in, you must file their records. Once you are doing those things, that means you are an high-performing person. I understand that public sector is a funny setup, or is quite different from the private sector. But the critical thing is that the things that you are supposed to do, you are doing them. As far that if anybody wants to also do, let's say, performance appraisal for you, you understand that, okay, you are ticking all boxes, then you are a high performer. So I don't know whether that's because I know that your because of the how the sector plays, your hands could be tied, but the critical thing that make sure that what you are expected to do, you are doing it. I joke, like I said, I joke with my wife. I said, somebody that is expected, that you expect to move file, we expect somebody to gravitate him or her before the files are moved. So what we are saying here is that you should not be in that position, that before you move file from point A, you don't expect somebody to gravitate you before you move the file. Once you do that, then you can say you're high performing. I don't know whether that answers your question or not.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olariwaju William. I would just like to add one or two things to complement what you have said. So a few years ago, I did a program at Lagos Business School, and one of the case studies we did centered on NAFDAC, which is a public institution, which was then led by Mrs. Dora Akilu, Professor Dora of blessed memory. You know, some of the participants then found it very fascinating that, wow, of all the places to get a case study, it was from the public sector. But it was a very relevant case study because it showed productivity. So I'm trying to allude to something which our facilitator had alluded to tonight. In driving high performance, there is a key role of leadership. It doesn't matter whether it is private, public, or public-private partnership. It doesn't matter whether it's federal, state, or individual. It doesn't matter whether it is ministry or power startup. Anywhere there is a leader, you will see stimulation of productivity and agriculture. Now, let me also say here that leadership does not always have to come from the top. I agree that if the most senior person has the right characteristics and attributes, it will help. But any of us, no matter our cadre, we are leaders in our own rights. So even if we want to dance to the tune of what the appointed leader is, let us do our best within what he wants or what he's allowing. Somehow, that excellence will permeate and will be able to add value to our internal and our external customers. I know that it can sometimes be challenging, frustrating, and this does not apply only to public sector, my brother. I've worked in 10 organizations in 10 industries. 9 of them complete private sector. There are, we have what we call contained leaders. There are bad leaders across board, and there are excellent leaders across board. So my final charge to you, my brother, will be, don't let what you cannot do stop you from what you can do. Don't let what you cannot do hold you back. I can sense, perceive, discern that you are very passionate. You want to add value through the public sector, and that is why you signed up for it. All right. Thank you so much for bringing up that question, and thank you to our facilitator for that response. We'll quickly go back to Sylvia, who had raised up his hand. Hopefully, his network, the floods will not interfere. Fantastic. We can hear you. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. I was connected to a speaker, so I didn't know you couldn't hear me. All right. Good evening, Mr. Yemi. Good evening, sir. And thank you so much for this presentation. My question is an offshoot of the person that asked the first question. So I currently have a challenge where and I'm so grateful for this topic. Usually I don't find myself joining topics like this, but I'm grateful I joined. So where I currently am, I realized that it's more or less like I'm in a battle with the CEO, because even at the moment, there's something that our presenter said today. We don't even know the vision, the mission of the company. We're just going, everybody's going. And tomorrow, in my mind, I'll be like, tomorrow he will now ask, okay, how are people measured? There are no communicated goals. And every time we bring this thing, we had a strategy session beginning of the year. It was lengthy. Even the consulting firm took lots of time. At the end of the day, no reports, nothing was communicated. Nobody knows where they are. And each time we keep going back and forth. I keep asking, what is, even the CEO does not, today he will come up with a vision, tomorrow it changes, and then nobody knows what it is. So it brings me back to saying the leadership of the business is actually the one affecting the business, because it also shows in so many aspects of the business, whereby employees, like 2 exit interviews that I conducted, 2 employees said, or one said that she feels she's not appreciated, which I noticed. And there are some other people that are appreciated, they are not even doing as much as she's doing. I noticed all of those things, but there is a limit to how much I could do. Then the second person that exited also said that our engagement level has dropped. Initially, I have this yearly calendar of activities that we do to bond and everything. But even to get approval is a problem. Before I get approval for even 100,000, I have to seek approval over and over again. It becomes so tiring for me. So recruitment has been the major thing. Now it says increase sales, people increase sales. We've been recruiting for almost the beginning of this year to now. I've looked at over 10,000 CVs without any software. I've hired 9 persons to join the team, and still we're looking for salespeople. And I'm like, sir, why don't we have periods? I mean, when these people should come? It just feels like anytime you see a CV, you share with us, hire interview this person. And then tomorrow we have a lot of people, we send out ads, and people apply, and then tomorrow people that apply online, they don't get communicated to, because tomorrow CEO comes with a CV and say, this is the candidate. So it makes me feel bad. It makes me feel that my career is at the point whereby there is something wrong somewhere. If I don't either exit, that this business is going to crash right in front of my eyes. So I don't know what to do. People think that it is HR, but me, I can't tell them what is really happening. That each time I go to clarify things with the CEO, it's just difficult. So everybody wants to now put it to me, but he now feels I'm a contender, why it shouldn't be the case. So I don't know what now to do, really. So that is my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sylvia. I won't say I empathize with you with what you said. I've seen 2 other questions in the chat, and I think they are actually related, and I will just say something there. But while you were saying things, when you were talking, something came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind was, I'm a member of CIPM. When we read our code of conduct, there's something we always say that there's a particular phrase that we say of which resignation may be one. Now, I'm not saying you should resign from it, but what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing that is keeping that must say that if we see that the system is not helping us, we must stay there forever. Now let me go straight to your question. I see that a lot of things in this particular organization, there are a lot of things that are not in place. So many things are missing. And in terms of policies, maybe I would say in terms of policies, for example, for everything you do, there must be things that guide you. And that's why when I was talking, I talk about SOPs. For example, if you have like an HR process manual, this will have stated, okay, for your recruitment process, these are the steps you follow. For your learning and these are steps you follow. So that process manual will guide everything you do. And once that manual you have it available, is signed on, and you are not there yet, it's easier for you to point to say, sir, this is what we say we should do. This is what our policy, this is what our manual is saying regarding this. And this, because of what you have just done, this is are you saying we should update this, or we should just put it by the side? But when you do that, you are trying to let him know that, okay, you have an understanding of what you do. So you understand what I'm trying to say. So, but I see that's a major flaw in this part of the organization. And because your vision and mission where you started, you say it's not clear. I was just wondering while you were talking that when you have new hires, how do you integrate them? How do you onboard them when you cannot even talk about your vision? You cannot talk about vision. I'm not blaming you. Don't get it twisted. I'm just trying to lay it bare that if you look at most of the things we've talked about today, like you mentioned, it's actually an eye opener to let you know that okay, this thing we talk about, we integrate new hires. So because you don't have vision, when you are talking to them, what do you want? What do you tell them? So this, and that's what even this says, that you as the HR, you don't even know where you are headed. You don't know where you want to be in the next 5 years. You don't know what your mission is. So how do you talk to people? How do you? So it's maybe what I would say is if you can have maybe I don't know whether you want to document it or want to have a meeting with the MDCU and say, sir, these are things that we expect. So maybe it's going to be clear. Otherwise, you might just be looking at gradually. But I think it's because you don't have clear-cut policies. You don't have. I doubt. I don't know if whether you have what do you call it? Employee handbooks. Whether so. A lot of things are fault. We have foundational problem in this particular organization, which we must be sincere with. So you must. These are areas you must focus on. That okay. So because when you keep, if you get to a time, I'm going to ask you that when you recruit these people, the one you recruit, for how long do you keep them? It will get to a time that when people you advertise that people will say they don't respond, and before people start to talk about it, you see that response to your vacancy placement will be minimal. And so I also use that to actually talk to someone asking the question that okay, in a situation that HR don't have clear and strict culture in a place. When you don't have strict culture, when you do, it just boils down to the same thing. What culture do you want to actually portray? You know, what I was mentioning earlier, I mentioned about lead by example. I also mentioned the fact that okay, when I came in, a lot of people used to come late, but by virtue that because I come in early, people knows that okay, this guy cannot be waiting for us. So a lot boils down to our policies. Most of the things we have said this evening. So if you have your policies in place, you have your, and you know, let me say this because people confuse it. Maybe I should just explain at this point in time that your process manual is different from your employee handbook. Your process manual is like the SOP, like what guide you as HR. That's what you do when you want to do recruitment. These are the steps to follow. For our performance management, these are the things we do. To onboard new staff, so everything is documented like step A to Z for each of every function you do across the value chain. So that's what your process manual will address. That's like your own Bible as HR. But the employee handbook is like, okay, that one is like a Bible for the employees. But the manual will guide what you will do as a HR. So if you don't have a manual in place, how do you do things? So I don't know whether that speaks to I think that's what I would say to Sylvia, and we can take the conversation up maybe further rather than this. Isaac was asking that as an high performer assigned with different tasks related to your roles, but not in your KPIs, and this is affecting how can this be managed? Now, there are things. If you remember one of my slides, I say focus on what matters. Now, if you know that elements in your KPIs that you are already stated there, you need to see. I'll come to that. I saw what you type. You will see. I'm talking to this person now. That Isaac. Now, those focus on those things that are your KPIs. Mind you, I'm not saying if your manager say do this or do some other things, you don't do it because all of us we do a lot of things that's beyond what's on our KPIs. What I'm just saying is that ensure that when somebody wants to sit down with you to appraise you, ensure that those elements of those KPIs you concentrate on them. So focus on what matters, and then those other things, then you push them along. But never ever allow your KPIs to suffer at the expense of other things that are just like that I'll call addendums. So that is my take to that. Now for Sylvia, now when I say SOP. If your organization is, if you are ISO certified, it's different. I'm talking of things related to your HR practice within the system. 27001. I want to wait which one. I know it's not. I think does that have to do with environment? There's one that environment. I know the 2015. 9001 2015. That's stolen for quality management system. I want to remember 2020. So this what you are saying. What you just typed is different. What I'm saying. This is for ISO certification, because I know you have objectives that you must fulfill to ensure that when they come to what do they call it now? When the auditors come, when they come to audit your process, that those standards must be met. No, I'm not talking of this. I'm talking for your own work as HR, your process manual. That's what I'm referring to. That will say, okay, for every recruitment, we say we must sort CVs. And the CV, so if he now brings one CV, you just let him know, sir, this is not in tandem with our SOP. Because when you say you must sort CV and then you must do interview other than SOP, this person have brought in for you. Okay, thank you very much, sir. And the total is about information security management system. So I'm not talking of the ISO certification. I'm talking for your own process manual that will guide everything you do. So when he brings a CV and the person has not interviewed, so just interview this or just employ this person. No, that, sir, even if we will employ this person, let this person apply, because this is what our process, this is what we have stated in our process. Let him send in an application to our to the recruitment email, and then let's get it. Let's interview him. So that's what I'm talking about. So you must ensure that you have your own process manual that you follow in total. So that's what I just said. Thank you.
Okay. With the permission of the facilitator, I would just also like to add one or two things to complement the feedback. Sylvia, you still want to speak? If yes, please go ahead. I think I saw your hands up quickly. All right. So
no,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me allow Ekene to speak. Ekene, please proceed with your contributions.
Good evening, Mr. Ayemi. Good evening, Mr. Larry.
Good evening.
I just wanted to contribute my own point of view to what Sylvia is saying, because I think I understand where she's coming from. I've been in that kind of situation before, where it's not a matter of you not having policies and procedures in place. You have a policy manual, you have an operating manual. I mean, you have policies, you have procedures, all these things are there in writing, but some people veto your efforts, right? And even when they decide, they allow you go through the process, the lay down process to hire people, for instance, it's like they're letting you just do it to fulfill all righteousness, because when it comes to the decision making, they will still override everything you have done. So it looks like you have wasted your efforts. You keep doing these things over and over. You keep making these bad hiring decisions because you really are not in a position to really uphold these policies and procedures that you have documented. And I totally understand Sylvia's frustration. So I think I'm also echoing that question. What do you do in that kind of situation where your hands are literally tied?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Larry, what you want to respond?
Well, when I started responding to Sylvia, I recall I said I put in something that I said of which legislation may be one. I remember me saying that thing. We are not what's the right word now? It's not compulsory that we must stay in one organization forever. I'm so sure if I ask Mr. Ayemi, I can tell you 1,001 things that I also have been through in my hands of employers. So, but all these things build also. But the bottom line is that after you have done all options, you feel okay, this person, there is always a time to move on. So if you feel you've gotten to that point, remember what I said in this presentation, that you don't want to get to a point that you say, oh, na him or na so they do, because you are a high performer. You want to build that high performing culture. So you don't want to be like a clog in the wheel of this organization. I think the best is to call it a quit. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that contribution. Just to add one or two things. let me say that very respectfully that, when we talk about resilience, is one of the hallmarks of a professional, albeit an HR professional. However, it's good to be resilient where your professional goals aligns with the organizational goal. Now, I suspect strongly, based on the description you have provided so far, Sylvia, that your organization is either a owner-managed business that we call one-man business, even though outwardly it may look like a partnership or a group of partners, it may be a dominant owner or a dominant management. I've even seen PLCs, public liability companies, that will have one dominant director or one dominant managing director. Now, I haven't put that out. One thing is clear, and we HR professionals and even other top executives in organizations, the philosophy of the dominant director or dominant coordinator in the organization is slightly more important than the processes, procedures, systems in place. Why do I say so? Once that dominant person does not have a philosophy, for example, that is subservient to systems, structures, and processes, they will always truncate the process, work around the process, ignore the process as convenient. And so, either before we join an organization or when we're in an organization, as we are doing our review of the structural systems in place, we should also identify who is the real kingmaker or the king in this place. What are his philosophies? What really is their belief? Look, and I'm saying this very respectfully, when you are in an organization and it's almost looking like they don't have any vision or mission, the person's vision may be just to make money. And that business is just a vehicle to make the money. And it has made some in the past, currently making some now, and probably will make more. We've had friends who have worked in places, much later, they realized that the place they were working was actually a money laundering type organization. So they are not really bothered about sustainability. It is organizations that are bothered about, 50 years time, 100 years time, 25 years time, that will have value for vision, mission, core values. And beyond that, they also want to live out those mission, core values, and vision. And from time to time, maybe 5 years, 3 years, they can now review based on changes in the world, global changes, industry changes, changes from regulators, and so on and so forth. So I need you, before you get to that final state of resignation, I need to be sure, Sylvia, that you have done your best. Done your best in one. Have you tried to say these processes or this approach by the MD, what is it costing us? Can you articulate it? Two, have you tried to engage the MD? And when I say engage, try and identify, is it a morning person, afternoon person, evening? Is it a time he's in a good mood? If, for example, he supports a football club, maybe the morning after his football club just won a major match or something. Is it somebody you should go with another colleague and meet in the evening? Is it a third person you can meet after service? Just look for something. It may not be walk. It may be club. It may be, you do understand that? And is there somebody he respects? Maybe in the hierarchy, maybe another manager or another director or a supplier or something that you could collaborate and look for a way to present your concern without being confrontational. And you're not saying accept this process change or perish. No, you're just saying, sir, we agree on the fact that this organization must move forward. For example, I can pick from what you have said so far that your MD likes sales, he likes revenue. So that's okay. I too like sales and revenue. How can we work around how to achieve the sales and revenue without necessarily circumventing the processes on ground. Or to say, sir, okay, this is what you want. Let's turn what you want to the process. So that way, when you bring somebody anytime, anyhow, you are not breaching any process, because that is now, in ISO, you will say, write what you do and do what you write. As long as what he is doing is not like illegal, is not like unethical. Sometimes they say, who pays the piper dictates the tune. So try all this, because the process of you trying to convince management or leadership, it also builds capacity and competence. It will force you to research. It will force you to engage. For example, it forced you to attend this webinar tonight. So whether the outcome in the organization now changes, which is your desired result or not, you will be a stronger professional. You'll be a more thorough professional. And lastly, keep building your own capacity. See, I tell employees, colleagues, that please, anywhere we are, as long as we are drawing salary there, don't give up, don't give in, and continue to do your best. Continue to explore ways to improve the organization. Please, I heard you say it, that morale is dropping. Please, step that morale back up. I heard you say something like, oh, to get approval for maybe engagement initiatives. Look, my sister, you can do engagement initiative that you won't spend ₦1. I've done it multiple times in multiple organizations. Tell staff, all of you bring Ludo, Scrabble, what from home. You will be shocked that some will bring, and all of you will gather, and you will have fun, maybe 4 to 5 or 4:30 to 5:30 one Friday. And energy, you can do virtual games, fastest fingers. You understand? Again, what does the MD like? You say what people like, if you build something around it, maybe you say inter-club something, the organization. Look, it will have something that is his mumu button. Permit my French. Look for it. Look for it, and then build around it and stretch it. All right? I pray that the Most High God will give you wisdom and insight, because I see your passion. I see like you like that place and you want the growth and the best of that place. That's why I'm also supporting you and encouraging you. All right. So we'll take closing remarks and comments from our capable, able facilitator, Mr. Olariwaju Williams. Thank you so much once again, sir.
I wouldn't know. I saw Sylvia's and now that she just want to have one thing.
She's free to speak.
I just want to say thank you, sir, for the words of encouragement. Like you rightly said, yes, I really, when I joined in 2022, I had I wanted to stay, the longest in this organization. Everything was really good at the point at that time. And I felt it was a place I could do a whole lot of things. So it's paining me very much that all the things I had in mind is right in front of me, looking very difficult. And now, like you said, the only place I've not gone to is his church, actually. But in terms of every other, I've tried my best. And some other things that he keeps encouraging, like drinking alcohol in the office, I don't even know how to put it. Sometimes, when I've done initiatives without money recently, but he would not see it as anything. He would not say, okay, go and buy whiskey, I'm like, in the office place, what will happen if you're not there or I'm not there, to ensure that nothing goes wrong? So that's just my thing, actually. But I really appreciate the advice. I'll still see how much more I can do to make things better. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Larry, as well.
You're welcome.
Right.
Let's quickly take Michael. That'll be the final contribution.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Mine is a request. Can we get this slide so we study it over and over so we can see how we implement one or two things in our place?
Okay,
at least I can guarantee that the YouTube channel it will be uploaded on YouTube tonight. So at least I can guarantee you that one.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, so my final short is like we have rightly said, we are supposed to champion organizations that perform. And that's what's expected of each and every one of us. In fact, what Mr. Yemi said now, just call it partition, that make sure that we push and push and push. And that's the only reason. You can never tell until you have exonerated all options. And that's why you can answer. So, but before that, just ensure that these things, if you look at the issue of culture, they are very simple, like I said earlier. Like, it's not about policy, it's about what we do daily basis. So we just have to look at what are those things that we'll do. What are those ones that we'll do that will deliver results? Well, let's pick them and ensure we make them, we repeat them, make them repetitive. And so once we do those things, results will always come. Identify them, continue doing them, push people to do it, support them, give them the necessary things that they need to make sure those things are done repeatedly. We have results. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olariwaju William, for your magnanimity you shared from your wealth of experience, from your heart. I also like to thank the over 50 people who joined the live session tonight. Today had been a very challenging day in most parts of Nigeria because of the torrential rain. And of course, it's also a working day. Your task and appreciation for knowledge and continuous development is not unnoticed, and we will all earn the fruit of our labor and reward as our productivity will continue to soar and our earning potentials will continue to appreciate. It has been 90 minutes well spent. I'm so glad, sir. Just to let you know, you will be back again, sir, by God's grace. All right. I'll just unmute everyone now so that we can say thank you to Mr. Olariwaju William.
Thank you, Mr. Olariwaju.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
guys.
Larry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Very
Thank you,
insightful.